Hey church family, Pastor Tim here coming to you with an important update in the life of our church. Probably 4 years ago now, Alex Rodriguez, you may remember, was our youth director, and he planted a little bug in my ear and said, Tim, there's a Bible translation that is much better than the ESV, and you got to look at it. It's the Christian Standard Bible, CSB. It was new at that point, came out in 2017. And he said, we should make the switch to this. I really want to switch the youth group over to this. And so I did look into it at that point, did a little research, but I was very hesitant. I said, if we are going to switch, I'd like to switch to the NIV. That's the version that I grew up memorizing, and I know some professors who worked with the NIV at Trinity and liked it, and so I'd love to switch us to that, if anything. But you know what? I looked into the CSB. It looked pretty good on first look, so you can go ahead and switch the youth group over to that. So at that time, Alex actually got CSBs for the whole youth group, and the youth group's been using the CSB since that time, and he, I know, got some of those Bibles into some of the hands of those in your families at that time. But ever since then, each week as I prep my sermon, I've been comparing ESV, NIV, and CSB and imagining what it would be like to preach this passage and make the points that I feel compelled to make from each of these translations, because I do work from the Greek and the Hebrew as I'm doing the sermon prep. And so as I'm trying to draw the points out from the original Greek or Hebrew, I'm picturing how would I do that if the people in front of me are looking at the ESV? How would I do it if they're looking at the NIV? How would I do it if they're looking at the CSB? And actually, I got to tell you, for these last couple of years, very consistently, there have been many weeks in which, as I've looked at it, I've said, ooh, this would be really easy to preach from and make this point from the CSB. The CSB really captures this nuance in the original really well. And so I am announcing here today, and we'll talk about it again on Sunday morning, and we'll have plenty of conversation about it in the future, but that in January, first of the year, January 2022, we as a church are going to switch over to the Christian Standard Bible. That doesn't mean you have to get a new Bible or you abandon the translation that you like, not at all. It just means that our preachers will be preaching from the CSB on Sunday mornings, and we have new Bibles that'll be in the chairbacks. Look like this, CSB Bibles, same ones that the youth group has had, and for reference during the sermons. Wanted to give you a heads up on that now, so we have a couple weeks to process. Would love to talk to any of you with any questions that you have about it. There's a link below that you can click and read more about why we're making this switch, and watch a video that the CSB has put out that I think really captures the essence of what makes it such a good translation. The bottom line is that there's a spectrum on these English translations from very literal on one side to very readable on the other side. The literal translations, the most literal translations, can be pretty wooden and can sometimes have a hard time being comprehensible to us in English, and sometimes they get so wooden and so rigid that they even miss some of the nuances that words can be used in different ways, and they always translate a certain word a certain way, and it actually sometimes misses out on what an author's trying to do, I think. On the other side, you get the most readable translations, and yeah, sure, they're easy to read, but sometimes that is very, very different from what I'm reading in the Greek and Hebrew. They're taking a lot of liberties in interpreting what's going on there. The CSB, I think, better than any translation, I have to say now at this point, that I've come across, I do think strikes that balance really, really well. So it will be more on the readable side than the ESV, which is what we've been using, which is toward the literal side. So move us more toward the middle there on the balance between readability and the literal nature of it. But I'm excited about getting to do this. I'm excited that in the new year, as many of us, again, will go through the Bible in a year reading plan. And if you didn't do that with us this past year, I want to encourage you to do that this year. Let's do it in the CSB together and get a fresh look at passages that we've read a million times, but now just get it in a little bit of different language, and something might stand out to us, strike us a little differently than it did in years past. So please do reach out to me if you've got any questions about that. Would love to explain it, but do take a look at that page linked below on our website that explains a little more. And If you feel up for throwing a late item on your Christmas list, ask for a CSB, and so you can start working through passages and taking a look with us in that. There is a CSB study Bible that is really, really excellent. This is the one that I've got, the Baker Illustrated CSB study Bible. The study notes in here I've found to be really good as well, just as the old ESV study Bible notes were. So thanks, church family, for coming along with us in this, and please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions that you have.